Well, it's definitely fall. The nights are cooler. The days are still beautiful. Today is a gorgeous October 2nd day. It's beautifully sunny, but I'm taking advantage of it by picking all the remaining beans that are on the vines. I've picked a full bushel basket of beans that are just sitting there. They're absolutely not green beans anymore. I consider them shelling beans, but they're not completely dry yet. I just don't want to leave them overnight and then have the mold take over, have them rot. So what I do is, I'm just going to show you here. I take the beans that are fully formed, such as this, that. They're fully formed. They're very buttery. What I like to do with these is I either freeze them or can them. And because I'm trying to save on freezer space, I'm going to be canning all of these. I will show you a recipe at the end of the video where I actually use these so that you can see how I utilize them. So those are the ones that are buttery. I mix them all varieties together. It doesn't matter to me. They all taste very similar. The ones that are dry like this, I'm going to be using as my seeds for next year. So I'm keeping those separate. I consider shelling beans in the fall as a meditative therapy. Okay, those are not doing well. We have scarlet runner beans, which are a great attractor of pollinators. So those I keep as seeds, and we do trellises around the garden and around the fence line to attract the hummingbirds and the bees to the garden. They actually produce a beautiful red flower. Let me just show you what those look like. And I can sit here for the next good hour doing this. Like I said, it's like a meditation. And this way we have no waste. Shells, they go into the compost. Zero waste here. And that part of the garden is going to be cleared up as of today. I gotta clear up all the beds, taking out the tomatoes, taking out the beans, because I need to get my garlic in for next year, and I want to prepare the beds for that. I'll take you on a little venture with that as well. And I'll also take you up to harvest my squash later today. It's fall. There's a lot of things to do. There's animal harvest, there's garden harvest, getting stuff ready for winter. It seems like every single day we are busy and the weeks go by so quickly. So I think what I'll do is finish doing these, and then I'll take you into the garden to see the squash harvest. Well, I'm in here in the garden. I'm gonna be trying to clear out some of the beds. I have to tell you, look at my butternut squash. They're like everywhere. I've already collected quite a few. I'm just gonna turn this around so you can see. So I've collected quite a few already, but there are many to be had. I think I got more than my fair share of butternut squash growing. There's some that I'm still going to leave getting a little bit more ready for picking, but I do love looking at my little trellis hanging with my squash. It's like a little paradise, I'd say. But those are pretty much ready to get finished picking. My pumpkins, I thought these were going to be spaghetti squash, and they all look like friggin' pumpkins to me. And then these here are my shih tzu peppers. Let me just get up close. Look at them. They're gorgeous. I really am trying to give them as long as possible. So on these cool nights, I'm actually just tarping them over to keep any frost off. I have got some melons here. I was trying to grow these European melons, And so far I've only got 2, but if I can get 2, that means I can get seeds, and I'm happy to do that. I won't even deal with this bed yet. It's the cabbage and the kale. I'm picking from it regularly. And this is the beans that I was showing you that I've cleared off. I'm ready to pretty much take everything and turn it in this bed. And the tomatoes, they're done. What's left is kind of not in best condition. So what I'm going to do, look at this, there's tons of waste, I know, but that's just because they got that grossness from the cold nights. So I'm going to pick all these and I'm going to throw them into the chickens and ducks. They love it. It's healthy for them, and I don't feel like I'm wasting anything. But so the garden is finishing off. The season's almost over. I just got to stay on top of it so that I can make sure that I maximize the harvest. Hopefully we'll get our act together and still have time to put the greenhouse up this year. I tell you, it's great when I walk in the garden because the chickens come running. They think, oh, she's coming out with something. And I usually do. So, again. So just finished picking the rest of my turnips. I will pickle some of these and some I'll just cure so we can keep for later. And cut off the greens. That goes to my buddies. Okay, guys. Come on. There you go. They love the greens. My honeybees are loving the broccoli flowers. Look at them. Getting that little last bit of nectar prior to winter. So life gets busy, and I totally forgot that I had promised to share with you how I was going to use my beans. Anyway, I'm going to have to recap what I've done so far. I sauteed some onion, so a whole onion, a large garlic clove, and then I chopped up 4 tomatoes out of the garden and sauteed them after the garlic and onions were already a little bit browned. After the tomatoes started getting soft, I added a good handful of beans, as you can see. And now I am just letting them warm through, and I am going to add the water that I would normally ratio to rice. So I usually do 2.5 cups of water for 1 cup of rice. So that's what I'm going to be adding into my mixture. I will let the water boil with the mixture for, I'm gonna give it 10 minutes, and then I'll add my rice. So the cooking time for the beans will end up being 30 minutes. So here I have added my water. And I'm going to bring this up to a boil and let it simmer for 10 minutes after it comes to a boil. This is seasoned with salt and pepper. It's been boiling for 10 minutes. And now we're adding the rice. This is going to cook for 20 minutes covered. There we go. With 5 minutes remaining, I add some fresh chopped tomatoes because I don't want them to disintegrate. Just gives a little bit of that acid finish on the rice. Once the cooking time is done, I do shut off the flame, cover it, and let it sit.